Have you ever stared at your raspberry patch just loaded with beautiful green leaves in the middle of summer and thought, wait a minute, where are the berries? It is such a frustrating feeling for a gardener, and today we're going to solve that mystery for good. And you know what? The answer is way simpler than you think. It's all about what you do with your pruners.
This quote, it just hits home, right? This came from a gardener who thought they were doing the right thing. They tidied up their patch in the fall, cut back every single cane, and expected this huge, amazing harvest the next year. And instead, nothing. It's a mistake that is so easy to make.
So yeah, what went wrong? How does a patch that looks perfectly healthy end up giving you zero fruit? Well, the answer is that raspberries, they kind of play by their own set of rules. They're not like most of the other plants in your garden.
Unlocking that secret to a big harvest isn't about some complicated trick. It's actually super simple, but it's absolutely crucial. It all comes down to understanding the raspberry's unique 2-year life cycle.
Okay, so to stop guessing and start getting berries, you really only need to learn 2 words, primocane and floricane. Once you get these 2 terms down, you'll know exactly which canes to cut and, more importantly, which ones to leave alone.
So here's the deal. Primocanes are first-year canes. Just think primo for first. They're going to be green, they're flexible, they're this season's brand new growth. Then you have the floricanes. They're the second-year canes. Think flori for flower or fruit. These are the ones that look more woody and brown, and their whole job is to produce that big summer crop, and then they die off. That's their entire life cycle.
And look, this picture just shows it perfectly. See on the left? That's your primocane, bright green, smooth, full of life. Now look to the right. That's the floricane. It's thicker, it's darker, it's got that woody, bark-like texture. And notice, it's the one with the berries. Once you can spot this difference in your own patch, you are seriously halfway there.
All right, so you've leveled up. You can tell your canes apart. Awesome. But there's one more piece to the puzzle. You have to know what kind of raspberry plant you're actually growing. Is it a summer-bearing variety or an ever-bearing variety? Because the rules are totally different for each one. So you've got 2 main players. Summer-bearing raspberries, they give you one big, glorious harvest in the summer, and they only make fruit on their second-year canes, those floricanes. Simple enough. Ever-bearing raspberries, though, they're a little extra. They can give you 2 crops. You get one in the fall on the tips of the new primocanes, and then you get another one the next summer on the lower part of those exact same canes.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty. It is time for the playbook. This is your step-by-step guide to pruning the right way, depending on which type of raspberry you have.
If you have summer-bearing raspberries, honestly, your life is pretty easy. As soon as you're done picking all those delicious berries in the summer, you go in and cut every single cane that just gave you fruit, those old floricanes, all the way down to the ground. Their job is done. Then you wait till late winter, and all you do is thin out those new green primocanes, just leaving the 4 to 6 strongest-looking ones per foot. That's it. You're done. Those are going to be your berry factories for next year.
Now, if you have ever-bearing raspberries, this is where things get really interesting, because you actually get to make a choice. It all depends on your goals for your garden. You can either manage them for one really big, simple harvest, or you can aim for 2 smaller ones. It's totally up to you.
So this is your big decision. It's all about what you want. Do you want one massive, super simple to manage fall harvest? Or are you okay with a little more work to get 2 separate harvests, one in the summer and another one in the fall? Let's break down how you do each one.
Okay, method 1, the one-crop method. This is the easiest way to prune, period. In late winter, you just chop them all down, every single cane, old and new, right to the ground. I know, it feels so drastic, but trust me, it works. What this does is it forces the plant to pour all of its energy into growing brand new primocanes that will give you one giant fall crop. It's perfect if you're a beginner or if you live in a really cold climate.
Now, if you want 2 crops, you have to be a little more surgical. So after that fall harvest, you only trim off the top part of the canes that had berries on them. You leave the rest of that cane standing all winter long. The next summer, it'll give you a second, earlier crop. And then, once that summer crop is done, you cut that entire cane to the ground. It takes a little more attention, but hey, you get raspberries twice a year.
All right, you've got the strategy down. Now let's talk about a few pro tips and common mistakes. Avoiding these simple little pitfalls is going to make a huge difference for the health of your raspberry patch in the long run.
Okay, this right here, this is the #1 mistake. This is the one that got that gardener at the beginning. If you have summer-bearing plants, those healthy green primocanes are your entire harvest for next year. You have to protect them. Only cut the old woody floricanes that are finished. And this is a really big one. Pruning basically creates a small open wound on the plant. If you do that when the canes are wet from rain, you're just rolling out the welcome mat for all sorts of fungal diseases. Always, always wait for a dry day to do your pruning.
You really should treat pruning like it's surgery for your plants. A dull blade doesn't cut cleanly. It crushes the stem, and that just invites infection. And dirty tools? They can spread disease from one plant to another without you even knowing it. Just take 30 seconds to sharpen your pruners and wipe them down with a little alcohol. Your plants will thank you for it, for sure.
I want you to start thinking of pruning not as a chore, but as your annual health inspection. While you're in there, working on each plant, be a detective. Look closely at the canes. Do you see any blackened tips? Any weird orange spots that might be rust? Are there swollen knots or tiny little holes from insects? This is your best chance to spot problems early and get those diseased canes out of there before they can spread.
And finally, just remember that pruning isn't some isolated task. It fits into this bigger, year-round rhythm. Winter is for your main pruning and mulching. Spring is for training up that new growth. Summer is all about harvesting and then cutting back those spent canes. And fall is for a final cleanup and maybe some tip pruning. When you see it as a cycle, it all just clicks into place. So with all this, you can walk out to your garden not with confusion, but with total confidence. You know what to look for, you know which canes to cut, and most importantly, you know why you're cutting them. Every single snip is a step toward a healthier patch and a bigger harvest. That feeling of frustration is officially a thing of the past. The only question now is, what are you going to do with all those berries?